Good morning. Hi, this is Julie. Welcome to nice, easy, gentle yoga class using a chair, or not if you prefer, through Gilda's Club of Rochester. Thank you for joining me for yoga class. Please remember that if you're having any pain or any issues today, don't do any movements that are going to make you feel bad. It's very simply said. Do what works for you today, what feels good inside your body, and leave behind what doesn't. Any of your doctors, healthcare professionals, therapists, chiropractors, if they told you not to do a certain movement, then don't do that. Do what works for your body. Yoga practice is how your body interprets the movements of the yoga asana, and nothing more than that. So go ahead and enjoy your practice today, and hopefully it'll create a feeling of ease going forward for the rest of your day, because that's what we're hoping for. So let's start nice and easy on our feet. I have my chair nearby. You'll see me moving my chair around so that you can see me from different angles, and we can work with the chair from different angles as well today, okay? So let's start standing. Take a look at your feet, and if you need to hold on to the chair for standing postures, go right ahead and move it to wherever is comfortable for you. You'll notice my feet are about hips width apart. Your hips aren't out here. Your hips are actually more in line with these. If you feel the front of your hips, you'll feel the two bones that you can feel sticking out, your ASIS bones, okay? So your feet can be just slightly inward of the width of those bones, okay? So I don't want us to keep our feet together. That's gonna make it difficult for us to balance. So a little bit of width in the feet, about hips width, which is a little bit inside these bones right here that you can feel with your fingertips. The outer edges of the feet are parallel. Go ahead and rock back and forth from the heels to the balls of the feet. I do this often during the day. I have some issues with my knees, and I try to take the time to rock back and forth. It's also a balance challenge if you go a little slower, so it's definitely worthwhile. So why are we doing this? Well, we want to understand where's the best place to put the majority of our weight when it comes to when we stand on our feet. So bringing the heels down and the balls of the feet down. Hug a little bit with these thigh muscles by lifting your knees just a titch with these thigh muscles. You'll notice the thigh muscles generally move back when you do that. And that's a good thing, because that'll move your hip position from forward into a back hip position. We want a little curve in our lower back so that our spine can remain neutral. So you have to lift your kneecaps up a little bit with these thigh muscles here. Once you lift the kneecaps up with the thigh muscles, you'll notice the weight moves to the heels of your feet more than the balls of your feet. And that's fine, that's perfect. The chain of muscles along the back body is called your posterior chain. And they are the muscles that hold you up, that help push you forward as you walk and move. So that's where you want the onus of the work or the weight to be, on that posterior chain of muscles. And the heel bones are the densest bones in your bodies. They're called your calcaneus, and they're the densest bones in your body. So they're meant to take the majority of the weight of your body, your heels. So think about the majority of the weight being on the heels. And as you gently lift the kneecaps using the thigh muscles, you'll feel the weight move to the center of the heel, which is a really wonderful thing. You'll notice that you want to grip a bit with your toes and the balls of your feet when your weight moves gently back to your heels, and that's excellent. You don't want to grip so hard that we're going to cramp up our toes, but that's the way it feels. It feels like the majority of the weight moves straight down through your heels, and you feel some gripping with the balls of the feet. Let's talk about our shoulders a little bit now. Roll them up, back and down. Inhale and exhale when you do this. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Just feel that. Feel how the joint moves. Big, beautiful circles. Your shoulders are ball and socket joints. On the next inhalation, let's bring the shoulders up. And as we exhale, draw them straight back and soften them down. So now your palms may turn out a bit. This will happen naturally, this external rotation. That's fine. So you feel like the weight's moving back onto the heels a bit. You have a little bit of grip with the balls of your feet and toes. Some strength in the front of the thighs. Your tailbone should not feel like it's tucking under and you're squeezing your gluteus, nor should you feel like your belly is way far forward towards the floor. So we want to put our spine in neutral by engaging those thigh muscles back, weight in the heels. We can do that. Thinking of your shoulder joints now, lean them back a little so they line up over your hips. Again, you're going to feel more work into the heels and the muscles of the back body. Lifting up now through the tops of the ears to lift the crown up so the chin stays parallel and the neck lengthens. This is Tadasana, or mountain pose. If you close your eyes here, you'll notice it's a balance challenge. There are some people who tend to hyperextend their knees. When they close their knee joint by standing straight, the back of the joint pops backward a bit. If this might be you, think about your thigh muscles and gently hug the very top of think about your thigh muscles and then think about your calf muscles. So as the thigh muscles hug back towards the wall behind you, the top of the calf muscles hug forward towards the front of your shins. Can you feel that? That engages a little bit more muscles. Now, standing in Tadasana, we don't have to squeeze the heck out of all of our muscles, especially in the lower body, but we want to feel lifted. So go ahead and reach down through the feet, reach up through the tops of the ears. So you feel some engagement in the body, but not too tense or too loose. Chest is open. Let's place the right hand on the low belly and the left hand on the upper chest. Breathe, inhaling and exhaling. To help focus on the breath a little bit more deeply, we can just inhale and exhale through our nostrils if that works for us today. If it doesn't, that's okay too. As you inhale and exhale the breath, you'll feel the belly soften on the inhalation and draw in on the exhalation. Not really feeling much lift up at the chest. But maybe in the rib cage area. As you inhale and the belly softens, the rib cage widens from right to left. Exhaling, the ribs draw back down, the belly draws in. See if you can focus on that. Feeling the ribs flange out to the sides with each inhale and move back into position with each exhale. Feeling the belly soften forward with each inhale and draw in with each exhale. Now, hopefully these movements that you're feeling underneath your hands aren't changing the shape of your spine, aren't causing your hips to tuck or tilt, or causing your shoulders to roll forward or press back. There's part of a poem that I learned in yoga practice, and just the one phrase really resonates with me. I sat with the mountain until only the mountain remained. Mountain pose, or Tadasana, is in all postures. Take a moment now to think about your intention for practice today. However big or small, the reason that you tuned in to practice yoga today. Up your eyes, make sure you're acclimating with around you and bring them out. Good job. Great job with Tadasana. So Tadasana position from the side is neither tucked under nor is it sway back. So by aligning up, by drawing those thigh muscles in and back, maybe moving the tops of the calves a little forward and lining the shoulders up over the hips, you do create a beautiful balanced Tadasana position. So let's move from Tadasana position. Again, using the chair as needed. You may have it on your right or left side or in front of you to hold on to for balance. Okay? Inhaling, let's bring the right arm up and exhale over just a bit. It's okay if you don't straighten your arm. It's okay even if your arm is over to the side. If you can't get it overhead today, that's all right. Just breathe here for a few breaths, kind of opening up the area between the armpit and the hips. And inhale the other arm up and over. Beautiful. Notice you have to use a little bit more abdominal strength here when you do these side bends, okay? And that's all right. So hug in the muscles of the back and the front body. It's like you're making a sandwich with your torso, front to back. Inhaling up, exhaling over. Engage that sandwich, drawing the back and the front of the torso in towards each other. And inhaling up and exhaling over. You can go at your own pace. You can hold it for a few breaths. If you find there's a balance challenge, definitely use your chair. And, hold on and increase that challenge a little bit if that feels good to you today. Or not. Inhaling up, exhaling over. Inhaling up, exhaling over. And then one more. Inhaling up, exhaling over. And bring it up. Very nice, beautiful job. Okay, so A healthy spine moves in all directions. There are 6 different movements of the spine. So those were 2 movements. Let's find other 2 movements of the spine. So I'm going to turn, face my chair. You can place your hands on the seat of the chair. You can place your hands on the back of the chair, but I think the back of the chair is just fine. You're going to widen your feet just a little bit, a little wider maybe than the legs of your chair. Turn the toes out and just sit back just a little, just a bit. So it depends upon you how far back you sit. On the next inhalation, and you can have your hands either on the chair or on the thighs, depends upon you. I'm going to put mine on my thighs so you can see me. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift the tailbone. This is called cow pose. So you're creating a big arch in the spine, the tailbone is lifting, the heart is lifting. See if you can get the whole front of your waist to relax. I have a little bend in the knees. My hips are back over my ankles or my heels, okay? We don't want your knees to be over your toes. You're going to sit back just a little bit. On the next inhale now, we're going to tuck the tailbone, open up the shoulder blades off the back away from each other, and round the spine looking down to the floor. Still a little bend in the knees, still that thigh back positions. We don't want the knees to go over the toes. Draw the whole front waist up into the back. Now let's do this with our breath. Inhale to cow pose, lift the tailbone, lift the heart, big breath in. Exhale to cat pose, tuck the tailbone, round the spine. And do a few more of these. Inhale, cow pose, belly hangs low, tailbone lifts, sternum lifts. Exhale, cat pose. And just maybe a couple more sets, realizing that if you'd like to hold one or the other for a few breaths, please do. Because sometimes moving at the speed of one breath, or 1/2 breath, is challenging to us. We want to find a little comfort as we warm up our spine. On your last cat pose, round the spine, pull the belly button way in, and walk the hands up as you roll the vertebrae up one at a time, and draw the shoulders back. Great job. Make sure that you're not dizzy from sitting back. Let's walk those hands in. Walk those feet in. Great job. So I'd like to do a little bit of lunging. So hold on to the chair. I have the chair over to the right of me. I have my right hand on the chair. I'm going to step my right foot slightly forward and my left foot slightly back. So how far is slightly? There's about 4 feet between my 2 feet. So think about it that way. You have a little bend in the knee. Front foot is facing the top of your mat, facing me. Now this back foot, can you come up onto the ball of your left foot here with the heel lifted off the ground just a bit? We don't want our feet on a tightrope. As you can see mine, there's about hips width between my feet, the front foot and the back foot. And so you can even go a little wider if that feels comfortable to you. So my heel is lifted off the floor. I'm going to lower my heel and lift my heel. This is the heel of my back foot, my left foot. Lift and lower. If this is too challenging for you, it's okay. I'm going to hold here with my heel lifted just a few inches. Again, if this is challenging for you, you can turn this back left heel inward and lower it on the floor so that the back foot is completely on the floor, turned out at a 40-degree angle, okay? So you don't have to keep the heel lifted. It's completely up to you. Inhale here now, and exhale, lower the rim of your pelvis. So you have this round pelvis here. On the next exhalation, lower the pelvis and the front knee will bend. We take a look at the front knee. It should be pointing between the second and third toes. Let's lift up the pelvis. Inhale here. Exhale, lower the pelvis down between the legs. Do that a few more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. This can be an inch. Doesn't have to be very much. Inhale, lift. I have my hand in the chair. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. This is the last time. Exhale, lower. So the hips only lower as to where you're comfortable, the spot for you between both legs. The front knee does not go over the toes, or it points between the second and third toes. You can inhale one arm up, so you can inhale that left arm up. If you want to challenge your balance, you can lift the opposite arm up as well. You can even bend the elbows, place the fingertips behind the ears, widen, widen, widen. This is a nice challenge for you. Once again, maybe up. Now, inhale and exhale, and bring the arms down. Great job. Lean slightly forward and step the back foot in a foot, and then all the way in. Give yourself a moment here. Holding on to the chair, you can take this opportunity to take this left foot and circle. Whew. Do you feel that? It might feel tight. It's a lot of stretching going on and a lot of strengthening the calf and the shin area. So circle one direction or the other, point flex. Great job. Awesome. So now we're going to do the lunge on the other side. I'm going to move my chair. You could just turn your back and just listen to me since you know what this looks like, right? Or have me facing the side so you can see me. Awesomely awesome. Okay. So this time, standing tall in Mount Svanasana position, we're going to inhale and exhale and step the right foot back. Again, it's about 3 or 4 feet. We're not on a tightrope, so make sure that your feet are, hip distance apart. Hold on to that chair if needed. Some of you may need it, some of you may not. And just lift up that back right heel and then lower it and lift it and lower it. Nice. Your calf muscles work a lot. So that's why they tend to get tightened. They tend to get crampy, especially at night. There's a lot of different reasons for that, but you got to understand that the calf muscles work a lot. They help pump the blood back up through the veins to the heart. So they help get that blood back up from the bottom part of your body. So doing exercises that strengthen the calves and stretch the calves can be very, very important overall for our health. So then find your lunge position, and if this is enough for you and you want to put this back right heel down, right foot at a bit of an angle, go ahead and do that. You don't have to stay up in the lunge position. Hands on the hip, so right hand on the right hip. Inhale here, exhale, lower the hips between the legs. Inhale, lift them. Exhale, lower them. When you lower the legs hips between the legs, you should be able to see the toes of that left foot past that left knee. Inhale up, exhale. So you're lowering the hips between the legs, and that's what's causing the bend in the front knee. Not because you're leaning forward, not because you're putting all your weight in your front leg. And then find a spot that feels best to you. Maybe you have your heel on the floor. Maybe you don't. It's really up to you. And inhale one arm up. And maybe a balance challenge. Inhale the other arm up. Nice. Breathe here. Make sure you can move your head so you're not squeezing your shoulders up into your ears. And then bend the elbows out wide, fingertips behind the ears. If you think that your head might be falling forward, move the jawline straight back. So move the skull back into the fingertips. Whew. And release back up. And exhale. Great job. Hinge forward. Step that back foot in one foot. And then maybe another. Give your legs a little shake. Lunging is not easy, but it's very beneficial for us. And then we're going to take this right foot and we're going to circle that ankle. One direction. And then the other. Whee! Doing lunges opens up the hips, the front of one hip and the back of the other hip, right? It also strengthens, so it's a wonderful thing to do for our hips. Also a wonderful thing to do if your hips are forward bending. So let's do a little bit of forward bending. Now I'm going to turn. You can use the back of your chair or you can use the seat of your chair. If you have no issues with forward bending and you're fairly flexible in that way and it's comfortable for your spine, you can turn the chair so that the seat of the chair is facing you. But let's take a wide stance here facing our chair. Turn the toes out just a little bit wider than the legs of your chair. So for me, it's about this wide. So think about that, right? A little wider than your hips. Inhale the arms up. And as you exhale, take a sit back into the hips and place the hands on the seat of the chair or the back of the chair. So I'm doing a little sit, a little squat, and I'm hinging, but my back is staying neutral. I'm hugging my belly in now and pushing into my feet to come back up. Inhale up, and exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll try that again. Inhale up, exhale, squatting a bit, sitting back, nice flat back, nice strong abdominals. And then when we're ready, press the chest into the back. Inhale up, and exhale, hands to heart center. And again, inhale up, and exhale to hinge and sit back in a bit of a squat. And again, inhale up. We want to keep a nice, neutral, long spine as we come to this halfway position and sit back, and as we push up. So we're hinging and unhinging at the hip joints. Sitting back. And again. And strengthening back up. Great job. So with the feet still wide apart, now move your feet so the outer edges are parallel to the edges of your mat. So in other words, your toes aren't turned out like a duck. Your feet are parallel to each other. Keeping the knees a little straighter now with this forward bend. Inhale up, As we exhale, hinge, keeping a neutral spine, keeping a little bit more straightness in the legs. And then when you're here in this half wide legged forward bend, you can practice straightening the knees a little bit, hugging the thigh bones up, up, up towards the hips to help straighten the knees. Then we're going to add a little bit of a twist here. So what I'd like you to do is bend the right knee and slide your hips over to the right. Place your hands over to the right part of the chair, the back of the chair or the seat of the chair, and then roll the right shoulder back and turn your heart towards the right. It's going to give us a little bit of a twist with this lunge. The left knee can remain straight or as straight as is comfortable for you. There's a little bend in the right knee. You're turning, spinning your rib cage toward the right. And let's replace that. Inhale and exhale. Bring both knees back to straighter and your hips to the center. Inhale here. Exhale, bending the left knee. Slide the hips over to the left a bit. Walk the hands to the left part of the seat or the back of the chair. When you're ready, inhale, up, and exhale, twist. So you're feeling that the right leg, the right thigh is stretching and straightening, sitting over into this left hip. Press away from the chair with the right hand to lift the torso up a little bit more as you twist. Roll both shoulders back by widening the fronts of both shoulders apart. And let's do this twist again to each side. Inhaling to center, both knees straighten. Exhaling as we bend the right knee and begin to lunge to the right. Inhale as we push the hand against the chair to lift up, and exhale to twist. And back in, center. Hinging over to the left, walking the hands over, and lift into the twist. Now, can you keep your hand on your hips? Yes, you can. Come back to center, lunge over to the side, move the hands, twist. You can keep this if I twist to the right and keep my right hand on my right hips, or I can lift my right arm up a bit if that feels comfortable for my shoulder, and back to center, and over to the other side. Last twist. Again, you can lift the arm up or not. It depends on how your shoulders are feeling. We want to open up the front of the chest and shoulders. And back to the center position. Beautiful, beautiful. So one of the things that I enjoy doing is a wide angle downward facing dog. So I'm going to need to step a little bit back from my chair, however, in order to do this. So I'm going to step back. I have a wide angle, so my feet can be just a little bit wider than the legs of my chair, or even a little wider than that if I like, okay? So try to do that, widen the feet, a little bit wider apart, maybe the width of your mat. You have your hands on the seat or the back of the chair. Press your hands against the back of the chair or the seat of the chair to lengthen the spine. Inhale here. Exhale, bend the knees a little so you can stick your tailbone up and plant your bottom cheeks to the wall behind you. Straightening the arms, pressing down into the back of the chair or the seat of the chair. You feel big stretches here. Draw the belly in just enough so you feel like it's not hanging, like the waist of the body is not collapsing. We don't want to collapse. So press against the back of the seat of the chair. Reach those sit bones up and back. Firm the belly. Just a bit. Feel the length. And then gently inhale forward. If you inhale forward and you want to bring the torso up a bit and your heels may come off the floor, your upper chest is going to come over the hands and wrists. Now, if you're using the back of the chair, you might not want to do this. If you're using the seat of the chair, you can definitely use this. It's a bit of a push-up position. Press back to the modifications or the wide down-facing dog. On an inhalation, you can come forward. A little bit of a modification of plank pose. Beautiful. Inhale here. And exhale, press back. And maybe one more time. Inhale forward. Heels come off the floor. And exhale, press back. Hold the down facing dog for just a moment. Just pressing down through the hands. Lift the pits of the armpits. Reach the sit bones back. Draw the very low belly up and in just a bit more to feel this. Beautiful traction for the spine. Beautiful stretch. And then come on forward, walking the feet in. Beautiful, beautiful job. Hopefully you feel okay. All right, so now we're going to move to using the chair a little more, so we're going to sit in the chair, okay? So bring the chair here. So we did a little stretching, both the front and the back of our hips, which is a wonderful thing. So let's do a little more stretching for the chest. Sitting up in your chair, you want to sit halfway to the middle so that your feet are flat on the floor. And again, they're about hips width apart. So we know our hips aren't way out here. Our hips are more in here, right? So think about that. Ankles directly underneath the knee joints. Let's roll those shoulders again, just like we did in the very beginning. Inhale up, exhale back and down. Oh. Sitting up tall through the tops of the ears. So the shoulder joints are leaning back more over your hips. So you're not against the back of the chair, you're using the strength of the front and the back body to hold you upright. We talked about the strength of the muscles on the back of the body. Holding your hands here or here on the chair, hold the belly firm without changing the shape of your spine. And you're going to use this hip hinge to lean slightly back without leaning on the back of the chair. So notice how the abdominals are working here to keep you from falling backwards. On the next exhalation, come on up. So it looks like this. Hinge back, nice straight spine, and engage the abdominals to come forward. So we can work both our back and our abdominals. Inhale here, exhale, hinge back. Inhale, hinge up. Good. Inhale here, exhale, hinge back. Now, hold the hinge back, take a nice inhale. As you exhale, come on back up. Gorgeous. Inhale here, exhale, hinge at the hips, nice flat back. Hold here, doesn't matter if it's just an inch. Inhale, and exhale forward. One more time maybe on this. Inhale here, exhale, hinge, hold that hinge, you're doing a great job. Inhale here, and exhale, come on up. Let's take these arms now, these hands, roll the shoulders back. This is called external rotations. We turn the palms forward, towards me, towards you, and widen the fronts of the shoulder joints apart. So roll the shoulders back and widen the fronts of the shoulder joints apart. Feel the whole sternum there, stretch and widen open. And then just turn down at the wrists, your hands, so they can grasp the back of the chair, okay? A little bend in the elbows is fine. You don't have to squeeze the back of the chair too much. Just think about with each round of breathing, each round of breath, that you're opening up the sternum. Inhale, let the chest be open. Big breaths and exhale. Still the same breathing applies. Each time you inhale, the belly opens, so does the whole front of the body. And then each exhalation, the belly moves in, the rib cage moves down. Inhale, widen the rib cage, puff out the belly. Exhale, draw in. One more time. Inhale, widen the belly, widen the rib cage apart on both sides, and exhale. And bring the hands to heart center. Shoulders roll back, seated in the chair. We're going to do a cross-legged hip opener. So you may want to sit in a chair where you feel you're not going to fall off. So I don't want you to be on the very edge of the chair, more towards halfway back. You have the option now to cross the right foot and ankle over the top of the left, and then widen out this right foot and ankle. Okay, so this is going to give you a little bit of a hip stretch, and you'll be able to hinge slightly forward with this, and maybe you can feel a little bit more of a stretch through the outer hip and piriformis area. If you'd like to do a little bit differently, add a little bit more sensation, you can cross your legs, but be mindful. The minute you cross your legs, we all tend to want to round our spine back like we're having a cup of coffee. So let's sit up nice and tall, reach up to the tops of the ears. You can cross the legs in this way, or you can cross the right foot and ankle over the top of the left thigh. Toes spread a little bit if you're crossing your legs in any way to keep the joints lined up. Sitting up tall, inhale here, and maybe this feels like enough sensation for you, or you can hinge slightly forward, hinging from the hip. So you choose which way you want to stretch this right leg, whether you want to do it by crossing the ankle, or by crossing your legs, or by crossing the ankle over the thigh. Notice I'm hinging at the hip. I'm not rounding or dropping my head. I want to keep a nice long spine here, just like we were practicing with our hip hinge. Understanding how a hip hinge works is really important, because very often people, instead of hinging at the hip, they'll round at the spine to bend over. And that can make it really challenging. The area of your spine where your thoracic spine, mid-spine ends, and your lower spine begins is a very touchy area. The vertebrae there are half thoracic vertebrae and half lumbar vertebrae. And so that area is kind of touchy, and maybe you've noticed that in your life, that you get some tweaking or issues there at the very top part of your lower back. So we want to protect that by keeping the abdominals firm, but by not pulling them in too much so that we hunch forward. We want to have that engagement from the front and the back muscles of the body. When you're ready, inhale, unhinge back up, and release. So now we have another leg. So we're going to take this left leg and cross the ankle, or you can cross the leg, or you can cross the ankle over the thigh. So you choose which one works for you. I don't want you to do anything painful for your knee or ankle. But if you do cross the leg or cross the ankle over the thigh, please flex the foot, make the toes a little more active so that we can keep our joints lined up. They don't torque away from each other. Sitting up nice and tall through the tops of the ears, nice long spine. And this may be more enough of a stretch you need for that outer left hip. Or if you'd like to add more, hinge at the hip so the back stays nice and neutral. And maybe you're only hinging an inch to feel a lot of sensation here. That's what you're supposed to do today. You have to work with the body that you start your practice with, because that's the body that you leave with and have to spend the rest of the week with. So I always used to say that to my students in class. Please be kind to that body you walked in with, because that's the one you're leaving with. So we definitely don't want to do anything that's going to feel very uncomfortable. This is a very important stretch. Okay, why is that? Because these external muscles of the hip and the gluteus work a lot because we walk, we climb stairs, we hike, we do all kinds of movements. Unfortunately, they become over-tightened, and some of the inner thigh muscles, some of the groin muscles, some of the other supporting muscles, and along with the abdominal muscles, are weaker. So the strength of these muscles takes over, and they become very, very tight, and the muscles, opposing muscles, are very weak. So we want to make sure that we stretch these really tight, strong muscles. We want to keep them strong. We want to make sure we stretch them as well. Then when you're ready with a nice long back, come on up, unhinge, and release. Good, so hopefully your hips feel good today. Finishing up the practice, a healthy spine bends in all directions. With the feet flat on the floor, knees over the ankles, roll the shoulders back. We did some twisting today, we did some side bending today, and we did some forward bending and back bending today. Let's release the arms, widen the front of the shoulders, relax the shoulders down. Move the shoulder joints back over the hip joints a bit. Reach up through the tops of the ears. Close the eyes and just breathe. Imagine with each inhalation, your hips root down into the seat and the crown of your head rises up. And with each exhalation, everything relaxes against the chair. Inhale, press into the seat a little bit, reach up through the crown of the head. Exhale, relax, and let go of everything you don't need. Do that a few more times. And then relax one hand on the low belly if you like, and one hand on the center of the chest, or you can relax both hands on your thighs. You're keeping the eyes closed. Nice tall spine, long neck. Focus on the in-breath and the out-breath. Just this breath. And then you can take a moment to focus on something that you're very thankful for. It could be a person, an experience. It could be something that is recent or quite a while ago. When you tap into that feeling of gratefulness or thankfulness, notice how that makes you feel in your heart, in your mind, and in your body. When you're ready, you can open your eyes, release your hands. We bring our hands together at heart center, and we say namaste at the end of class. Strictly translated, the word namaste means I bow you, or I you bow. So basically, it's just a way to honor someone that you've enjoyed spending time with or enjoy seeing. So I place my hands at heart center. May we all find peace, no matter what we are given. Thank you for joining me today. Have a glorious rest of your day. Namaste.